get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. This is Lonnie Beecham, your service provider, your service guy from Jeff City, Missouri, recording the silly podcast with Ruel on the other line, where we talk about service guys' day-to-day life, what they go through, what we see, what we deal with, the crazy stories that are thrown in our lap. On the other line, like I said, I introduced Ruel. He's my producer, and we're rolling. How's that for an intro?
That's good. I love it. Hi, everybody. I'm Ruel.
How you been? Haven't spoke to you in a week.
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm bleeding, but that's okay.
What does that mean?
I bleed almost every day.
What does that mean? Did you get injured?
I did, but I do almost every day anyway. So even though we wear gloves and try to protect ourselves, somehow I got a pretty nasty cut on my palm of my hand. Yeah, and under OSHA guidelines and requirements and stuff, yes, we carry first aid kits and bandages and all that stuff. But you want to know what really happens in the field?
You just bleed.
No, as soon as we realize we're bleeding and it stings and it burns, we will go wash our hands if we have water on the facility at the facility. If not, I do carry a 5-gallon bucket of water just to do some simple rinsing. But so I went and washed my hands, slapped the Band-Aid over the palm of my hand, and then no amount of gauze and stuff like that's going to hold this Band-Aid in place. So literally just take Gorilla duct tape and slap it over the Band-Aid so that whenever I do take it off and properly clean it and with hydrogen peroxide and everything, put some Neosporin and stuff like that on it, then when I rip the Band-Aid off, it's not ripping my flesh back open and causing another injury. So anyway, no big deal. Just another day at the office. We bleed daily.
Wow. Really? Duct tape?
Yep. Gorilla. I only buy Gorilla duct tape. I want my tape to stick. I don't buy the cheap stuff. I don't buy the gray stuff. And I'm not into the pretty colors and pinks and all that jazz. So nope, Gorilla duct tape, preservation tape, and frog tape. I buy lots and lots of all three.
Would you ever recommend, say if it's a cut and you got a big flap or a decent sized flap of skin, would you ever recommend crazy glue?
Well, they do make those liquid bandages, which I do use, but that's all that is crazy glue, super glue, whatever you want to call it. My wife has a weird fascination with super glue. She thinks everything that's broken at home can be super glued back together. Moving parts, we can super glue it. No, you can't. You can't super glue a broken hinge on a plastic toy. It just does not work. But yes, we do use that, but I don't carry that because that does kind of burn. It burns real bad to put liquid bandages of any sort on your cut. So luckily for this particular cut, I was dealing with a Category 3. Do you remember what a Category 3 water loss is?
I'm thinking, no. What is a Category 3 water loss?
It's sewage water. So I had my nitrile gloves on that I always wear whenever I'm handling that kind of material. And yeah, luckily for me, I've already had my hepatitis vaccination shots. That's a chore. It takes like 3 or 4 months to get fully vaccinated for hepatitis. You go in one day and you get a shot, and then you come back like I think 2 months later and you get another 1 or 2 shots, and then you go back a third time like another month later and you get one more shot. I don't remember. It's been years ago, but you only do it once and you're supposedly good to go. So I do every time I talk to my primary care doctor, I always check to see when my last tetanus shot is. I get lots of tetanus shots, at least one a year. But even if I haven't had one for a while, I still ask every time. So you get cut on rusty nails and stuff a lot at work.
And if you did get tetanus, what does that mean?
I don't really know. You get lockjaw, and I don't know. They always make it sound like it can be pretty horrendous, so it's simple. I know for a fact I haven't had one for 2 years, so I say I get one every year. It's been about 2 years since I got one. I was ripping up a hardwood floor for a mold job. Had to take out the hardwoods to get into the crawl space. It was so tight, and the mold was just it was unbelievable. And the only way to access the crawl space was to take out the hardwood floors. Well, the water had been infiltrating the crawl space every time it's rained since 1952. So this subfloor that the hardwoods was resting on was crumbling by the handful as we were tearing out the floor. So we were falling through often, and I was the one. Luckily, it was me, not one of the guys. But I was ripping up the hardwood floor and fell through, caught a big, nasty, rusty nail right on my inner thigh. That was nice. That actually hurt pretty bad. Fell down 18 inches on a rusty nail. Ripped my flesh open. Got a nice little scar from it even. So and I knew immediately. There was no, did I get cut? No, I knew I had a gaping wound. That was nasty. So I just left, went to my local pharmacy, the closest one. Everybody has tetanus shots, and I just plunked down $40 or whatever and got my tetanus shot and went back to work and finished out the rest of the day.
Maybe it's a scam. Maybe it's just sugar water, and you're not really getting tetanus shots.
I don't know.
Between tetanus and rabies, I don't know what happens to in either case if you catch either one. But I remember as a kid, someone always said, when you get, again, I don't know if it's rabies or tetanus. If you get it, then you're gonna have to go to the doctor, and you're gonna have to get like a series of injections into your stomach. So that's rabies, like 20 shots or something like that in your stomach, or I don't know. I think they've changed that up since then. But yeah, you and I are the same age. I remember that as a kid. I was always told you got to go get 20 shots in your stomach. I was like, I don't want that. So I don't know. I just know that the average human needs a tetanus shot every 7 or 10 years. And I think 10 years. You're not average.
I'm above average in every way. You've met me. No, not in person, but anyway, I'm just kidding.
It feels like it. I mean, when we finally get around to meeting, we'll be like, I don't know this guy. He's not. And then I'll get on the line with you, or get online with you. I'm like, I met this guy who said it was you, but I don't think it was you. I know the real you.
Yeah, you'll be disappointed if you ever meet me in real life.
I think you'll be more disappointed if you meet me. When you meet me. Someday we'll meet.
Yep.
You'll attend my funeral.
Actually, I would.
Thank you.
What a way to meet
that.
A guy.
He's like, y'all don't know me. We've never met in person, but believe it or not, we're pretty close as folks who've never been in contact face to face can be.
I got a call this morning and had a friend of mine calls me. He picks my brain a lot. He's one of those friends. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Ruel, I got this IT question. And, we all have that friend. Well, I thought, this ain't going to go anywhere. And then he calls me back. Oh, I think I need you. Come take a look at it. I'm like, all right. And then so I go and I take a look at it. And turns out, I'm taking out a ceiling of a kitchen as we speak. So, anyway.
Wow. Why do you have to remove the ceiling if you can talk about it?
Well, sure. I don't ever name names, but so this is a rather nice, large home, and one of the teenage boys, I guess, got up. I don't know what time it happened. So somebody went number 2 in the toilet, and they clogged it up. And instead of plunging it or shutting off the water until somebody could come and plunge it for them, if the teenager didn't know how, they just keep flushing, and it just overflowed the toilet. And on the second story. And so, yeah, Mom gets up to get a drink, walks in the water, and from the kitchen on the floor, pouring out of the fluorescent light above the island. And, yeah. So I had to cut open the ceiling due to a number of reasons. A, the source of water. B, the amount of flooring material on the upstairs bathroom. They have ceramic tile, and I don't know if you know ceramic install, but so they got the ceramic or porcelain tile. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. I'm attempting to dry it from down below, because below the ceramic, you got the mortar bed, where you put the stuff on. You got the grout around the mortar, around the tile, and then below the mortar bed, you have a concrete board, and then below that you have hopefully one layer. I hadn't gotten that far yet. One layer of OSB plywood underneath there. So there's just too much to try to dry from up above, and then being that it's from a toilet water, right in the kitchen. I had to cut it open. A lot of times we cut open ceilings on these a lot of times to see if there's insulation, and if there is, and that poses a whole nother problem. But this one didn't have any insulation, so no big deal. Just cut open the ceiling, and I'm going to force a lot of air up in that cavity. Built a little wall around the peninsula of the kitchen. It's a great room. It's like a family room / dining room / kitchen, all one big open room. So I put up my plastic partition wall with my zip poles and zip walls and stuff like that, and to contain my space, so I'm not drying everything else in the whole main level's probably, I don't know, 3,400 square feet, and then the living room has a 18 to 20 foot tall ceiling. So that's just a lot of air and cubic footage for me to compensate for. So I just shrink it down, build a wall. That way, when I do make my mess cutting open the ceiling, then it's confined to just this small area of the kitchen. And then I can put my heat, put my air movers, put my dehumidification in there, and I'm only drying that particular area, not the whole main level. It's all kind of open floor plan. So
wow. So this is one of those category 3 water damage scenarios, right?
Yes. That's another reason why I got to open up the ceiling, because the source of the water is highly pathogenic. Somebody could get sick. Not that you're going to go lick your ceiling, but anything porous in a category 3 gets ripped open or torn out or cut open, or whatever the case may be.
So I'm thinking, okay, guy goes to flush, it's clogged. Okay, flush it. Allow it to flush one more time after the tank fills, so that you can try and, get it done. And at that point, the bowl is going to get close to overflowing, or it overflows. Right. And then that's it. But it sounds like, because the water reached all the way down to the lower level, that there were more flush attempts after that. Yes. Is that how much? Wow. Okay, there you go. Pro tip. and I don't know if there's a mouthful. Go ahead. I just say, I mean, pro tip, right? Don't flush it if it's clogged.
let me help you out there, Ruel. First of all, it's embarrassing, but we've all been there. If you really had to take a number 2, right? We've all had to, flush twice. There's no embarrassment in that, especially at home.
Oh yeah.
It's better. Yeah. It's better to flush 2 or 3 times. Take care of the initial mess, and then flush it down, and then if you got a little more to clean up, then you clean it up again and flush it one more time. Don't just keep flushing. Whenever a toilet, and even on one flush, I have two daughters and a wife at home. I don't know why, but they go through like half a roll every time they use the toilet paper. This is an issue at my house. So here's the pro tip. If you see it starting to go up above the normal level, reach down and turn the valve off to the toilet. Don't just keep trying to flush it. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So that little valve that stubs up out of the floor on the left-hand side, you reach down and you turn it to the right until you can't turn it anymore. Now, if you have just a open gate valve thing, the valves, they're open when they're in line with the pipe. If you got one that just goes, got the little handle, if it's perpendicular to the pipe, you still turn it to the right, and you just make just close the gate inside there, and the valve is sitting there perpendicular to the pipe, not parallel with it. So either way, just shut it off. 9 out of 10 times, your toilet will actually, though the weight of the water, since water weighs 8.48 per gallon, will force the clog down, and it'll just all of a sudden like fill it, just like sink and flush itself, and then it's time to turn the valve back on, lefty loosey. That means you want to loose the water into the pipe, right? Lefty loosey. Open it back up, let it fill, then flush it one more time and see if it goes down on its own. If it's still wanting to come up out of the bowl, you turn it to the right, it'll shut the water off, and you don't have to worry about a toilet overflow. If it happens a second time, then you need to get a plunger and plunge it out, just move it enough to let it pass through whatever the blockage is, and there you go. Now, here's a tip for you, Ruel. 99% of the people have the wrong plunger for their toilet.
I'm raising my hand. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah. Do you own a plunger?
I do. I have one that is kind of cute. It's a smallest plunger I've ever used or owned. Primarily because.
What color is the rubber cup thing at the end?
I don't know, because unfortunately I am a colorblind citizen.
That's right. All right. So here's another tip for you. Almost everybody has that maroonish red color cup at the end of their little plunger stick. That is actually for a sink. That is for a sink. I'm sure you've seen. All right, describe your plunger for me. Is it just a bulb on a stick, or does it have like some flanges sticking down below the bulb?
It's that rubber bowl, or upside down bowl, and I want to say it feels like it is the color you described, and because it is a smaller end, it's. I think that it would probably be more appropriate for a sink.
Yes. But
I've got
the true toilet plunger has like it's the same shape. How do I describe this? It's the same shape as that red one, but it's going to be black, and inside that little bulb at the bottom, that open-ended bell bulb thing, there's like extra rubber that has an opening the size of a toilet hole. So the one that almost everybody has is that red one, and the colors mean something. I don't know what they mean. I just know that when I see a red one sitting by the toilet, that's one that's actually designed for the sink. Now, I don't know what you put down the sink if you need a plunger for a sink, but anyway, neither here nor there. You're actually most of the listeners have that red bulb at the bottom of it. Can you see black?
Yeah, I can see black.
All right. Well, is everything black to you?
No. I've never figured it out, but there are times where I could see some color, or some representation, or I don't know how to describe it. I see things. I'm sure that sounds stupid. I see colors, but if you were to ask me what colors I see, then I'll just make my best guess based on, I guess, logic, and then I sound more like an idiot. But yeah, I see stuff, but then sometimes things really, really start to stand out, and then it kind of dulls out. So, anyways, yeah.
Sorry, that's my ADHD brain. Okay? I'm talking about toilet plungers and how a listener is probably going to go in and look at their plunger and see that they have the wrong one. Then I'm like, hey, wait, squirrel, what color do you see? What color is the squirrel? Well, is it gray?
That's what's going to happen. People are going to, clog up the toilets. They're going to look for whatever plunger they have in their home, and then they're going to learn that they too are colorblind, thanks to the Service Guys pod.
And just so you know, that plunger will work, but that's technically not the plunger. The other one works a lot better.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there that know what you're describing as far as the proper plunger. Is it sort of like a small upside down vase, but it's sort of, there's a closure at the bottom of sort of it almost seems to close. Description. Yeah, and it narrows into a smaller opening.
Yep. And it's black. A true one is going to be black. A bulbous rubber piece is going to be black. So
yeah,
that's a little random for people.
My sister-in-law has one that it isn't a rubber end. It's sort of like like accordion style plastic, so that it has that springiness. You can push it down, and it'll expand. But yeah.
Yep.
How did we get there? Oh yeah, okay. The job, and the pro tip on how to handle. That's good to know. Close the valve if it looks like you're gonna get more water than in that blocked up bowl than there should be.
It fixes itself, just the way the water pushes it. It might take 10 minutes, but so typically I do at my house. My girl goes, Dad, the toilet's clogged, which is, I don't know, twice a month. I hear that, and I'm like, oh, great. So I just tell them, shut the valve off, and they're like, okay, Dad, it's off. Are you gonna come plunging? I'm like, no, I'll be up there in a minute, and then eventually we'll hear the gurgle sound. Yep, there you go, girls. Open the valve back up, flush it. And they're like, okay, Dad. That's what happens in our house.
Like when that happens at our house, right?
Yeah.
I'm the guy to take care of it, and the way I like to take care of it is I like to take a separate container, fill it up with water, and then control how much water I fill the bowl with while it's clogged. Then I just kind of let it sit there for a while, and then after a few minutes, I don't know, physics kicks in, and then that thing clears itself. Does that, what I'm describing?
Yep. Yeah, if you pour water in a toilet, it will flush itself. Yeah.
So there's like no need to stick a plunger in there and have to deal with that mess. I'll just fill up water and wait. Yeah.
Pretty rare that I actually have to go plunge it. Sometimes I do have to, but
I swear it's like magic for the little kids.
Yeah. How'd you fix that, Dad? You didn't even touch it. I was like, I got magic tires. I just wheeled it down.
The whole time you were in the middle of that tip, I just kept on hearing the jingle in the background in my head. Like, oh, I wish I had the controls right now to play that in the background.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. I think I like that jingle actually. Paid a lot of money for that jingle.
You did. Yeah.
Yep. But I own it, so I can put it anywhere I want it.
As a matter of fact, if you don't mind, I might have to kind of flip out that whole tip and just insert it into one of the other podcasts, in my other podcast as a commercial. How would that sound? Right? It's like,
hey,
transitions out into an ad, and then here's Lonnie giving his tip about how to deal with the clogged toilet, and then I kind of let the jingle roll out and the fade out, and then carry on with the rest of the show. That could be good, right?
Works for me. Shaking.
Hey, so as a follow up, I know we talked offline. As a follow up to my little water damage situation on the carpet, and as a result of the floor cleaning. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the patch of carpet that got wet and seemingly stained by the tile cleaning and grout cleaning effort. Dried up soon after we talked about it, and I talked about wanting to call the company to let them know what happened, but we're just going to have them come over again and do another part of the house as far as carpet, and have them and then explain what had happened with the stain and whatnot, and have them deal with that then and there. They're gonna treat us good. I'm sure they will. The guy that we've now we've been regularly having over, he seems like a nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy, but he can't listen. You won't know my thought on waiting to tell him?
What is it?
If I damage floor and you let me go back right away, I would push back on you. You did close in a manner. How do I know you didn't think it yourself and now all of a sudden you want to replace your carpet?
Okay, stop there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble hearing you, so I was hoping if you could say that again, just in case the recording doesn't have it. What would?
Can you hear me
now? Yeah.
Okay. Me, as let's say I own a company that did your tile last week. If wait till me a month or two from now to do something else, and you tell me, the last time you did tile clean that you damaged the carpet, I would push back on you saying, whoa, wait a minute, you didn't tell me about it when it was fresh. Now you want me to replace your carpet? How do I know that you didn't damage carpet? Now you think I'm going to pay for it. That's just me being real. I would push back, and if you tell me something that I damaged something 3 months later, okay.
Yeah, I thought about that.
That's just me being real. That's like, I wouldn't be so inclined to want to just run out and replace your carpet or fix it or clean it, dry it, whatever the situation may be 3 months later.
Yeah, I know.
As a small business owner, I kind of want to know. I mean, I don't profess to be perfect, even though I'm close, but I do make mistakes, and I own it. And if I don't catch it, as a small business owner, I want to know about it right away, not 2-3 months later.
Yeah, that's actually a good reminder and another good tip for folks who are listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're basically, correct me if I'm wrong, if your service professional goes and does a job and then you find out later, soon after he's left, that there was a problem, let your service professional know right away, because a month or 2 or 3 down the road, like you said, you're not going to be so inclined to jump on and say, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a good-hearted business owner wants happy customers. They really do. And we do make mistakes. And if you got that's a good way to know if you got a good provider of any sort of service. Do they own it right away? I could, as this provider, if, hey, your guy Todd was out yesterday and, he did my ceramic tile, and it's like, he got then that business owner could go to that tech and say, hey, do you remember the Abadam house? Yes, I do. What happened with the carpet? Oh, well, we sprayed it out and got some water on it. And then the business owner will be like, okay, we messed up. We need to fix them. But anyway, sorry. If you got a provider that's like wanting to push back, when it's timely. If they're pushing back, well, how do I know you didn't do it? Well, you got a shyster. You got a guy that's just making a buck. He don't really care about his name and reputation. He's hoping you disappear, and he doesn't want to help you. But me, I am a small business owner. My name is on every job I touch, and I want the best experience for both me and you. I want to make money. You want to, the product, the service that I provide. Pretty simple.
Pretty simple. Yeah, I totally thought about, what if I notified them of this thing too far out and they didn't own up to it. But with the experience I've had with the technician and the company so far, they've been good. I've complained about how in the past how the carpet cleaning job just didn't seem to result in any sort of visual improvement. And they went out and brought another team over, and actually they brought a team over to go over it a second time. And then that resulted in a visual difference. So, I think if they were shady to begin with, they would have been like, make up some excuse about why it is what it is, and then just leave me kind of all on my own.
Kind of goes back to what I was saying, but you told them about it in a timely fashion where, you were there. Yes. We were there yesterday.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
As a friend, I would recommend you, I would have a conversation with this company sooner rather than later.
You know what? Thank you. As a matter of fact, after we're done with this call, I'm going to give them a call. I even took pictures.
Well, there you go. Pictures do help.
Yeah. Yeah, I took pictures. They're date stamped, so. And,
good. Okay.
I'll have them over anyways.
Still,
yeah. I'm going to have them over. I have to pick a time, and the holidays is rolling around. Speaking of which, we should probably do I don't know, what do you think about doing a holiday episode, just so that we wish folks happy and merry and bright, and then let them on their way.
Yeah, I was actually kind of talking about that before you got on the line. Didn't really know. Today is the 7th. I don't even know what day of the week Christmas is. Is it Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah.
We obviously need to talk offline.
It's Monday.
Is it Monday?
No, it's Tuesday. Christmas Eve is Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
I tell you what, though, Christmas really messes with service guys' schedules. It is hard. Oh man, is it hard?
Really?
Well,
what have you had to deal with?
On the water damage side, or back in the days when I did fire damage? What are you talking about?
Oh, I guess the most horrendous.
Well, like a lot of my, I was talking last week, I got a large mold job that's coming online. Well, we're trying to figure out the scheduling, because I don't want to be knee deep in this mold project over Christmas and Christmas Eve and then, New Year. I mean, it just, this time of year, if you're talking to an HVAC guy, a drywaller, a plumber, or water restoration guy, now I'm different. I will show up at your house Christmas Day if you have an emergency. But it's just, as far as scheduling, when we're rebuilding a project or whatever, like this kitchen I'm tearing apart today, here it is the 7th, and it's going to take 3 to 7 days to dry out everything. Well, then, that's pushing the 15th. Well, they're not going to get a drywaller in there before Christmas. So they're going to have Christmas with family and everybody coming over with this big gaping hole in their ceiling of their kitchen. And, it's hard to schedule much of anything, because like I sub out my drywall. Well, they're trying to wrap up whatever they're working on right now before Christmas. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, some stuff kind of will happen, but not very likely. It's like every service tradesman takes the week off from Christmas Eve day to January 2nd. It's hard to make a living.
Wow.
If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
So now I'm unique because I will be there. I will be there Christmas Day. If you overflow your toilet, I will be there. I don't really want to be there, but I will be there. I'm not going to rush. I'm not going to rush right out and, get there within 30 minutes, depending on what I got going on family wise. But, I go to family functions, even in town. I drive separately just because I get called out. Now, my fire restoration days, every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, I work every one of those, because there's always, Thanksgiving, there's always a bunch of drunk brother-in-laws hanging out, and they're going to deep fry a turkey. Well, it's always on the deck. It's always cold. So they're, pushing everything up near the house just to try to, get some warmth. And then what do? They forget to defrost the turkey, and they drop it in a hot vat of 350-degree grease. And if you want to watch a rabbit hole of just awesomeness, you go to YouTube and just watch, like frozen turkey fires. It's just, it explodes. And every Thanksgiving and every Christmas, we would have to go in and deal with the fire every time and do some emergency board ups and emergency tarp ups, and every time.
I knew it. I knew turkey was up to no good. I hate turkey.
Or the ones that'll deep fry a turkey inside a garage. We walk in, we see the remnants of they got all the cardboard out on the floor, and, they're trying to catch all the grease splatter while it's frozen still. And then they drop it in there inside the garage, and then boom, it explodes, and with hot grease going everywhere. And, causes a lot of problems. So that's another tip for you. If you're going to deep fry a turkey, make sure it's fully defrosted, thawed out. You don't want to put ice in grease. In fact, while we're talking, in case our schedules get too crazy, if you should have a grease fire, my wife thinks I'm crazy, but every time I'm frying anything, and even bacon, if I'm just cooking bacon in a pan, I have that Morton salt sitting right there by the pan every time, without fail, every time. The way to put out a grease fire is either smother it in salt. You want to suffocate it. So throw towels on it. Throw a lid on the pan. Put a blanket, a pillow, anything like that. You do not, under any circumstances, put out a grease fire with water, because it just spreads and explodes and goes everywhere, and you get third-degree burns instantly. Your kitchen goes up in flames, and the fire department shows up if you just spray it with water of any sort.
Okay, so salt or smother it, never water.
Never water.
Or
smother it with anything but your smother it with anything, a couch cushion pillow, anything. You can replace a couch cushion pillow.
But not your mother-in-law, right?
It depends on if you like your mother-in-law or not. Sorry, did I say that?
Wow, this is a pro tip rich, heavy episode, Lonnie.
Well, you knew this, didn't you?
Oh, the mother-in-law one, yeah. The salt, it makes sense. The smothering, yeah. But definitely, I knew about the water.
Good. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of fires. Well, for 12 years, I did fire, water, mold, trauma cleanup. That's a whole nother topic. I don't even do trauma anymore. But anyway, yeah, and it always cracked me up. Every grease fire was the same. It was the same thing. Everybody seems to have that little small canister of fire extinguisher and sitting under the kitchen sink, and it just baffles my mind. Like, everybody has it. Every fire I've ever seen that could have been put out, they never even touched their fire extinguisher ever. Yeah, obviously, lightning strikes, electrical things you can't really foresee. You just got to run. But yeah, when you're cooking, burning candles, anything like that, instead of just grabbing the fire extinguisher and putting it out, they freak out, run out of the house, and call 911 after the flames get too big for them to put it out.
So we're coming up on time, but I want to just point out, since we're talking about Christmas and damage or loss, took the family to the movies to watch the Grinch movie, the latest Grinch movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know if, when you went to these holiday damage scenes, were people still sort of in the holiday spirit despite maybe halfway burning down their house or their garage or their kitchen? Because in the movie The Grinch, the Grinch, he goes to Whoville and he ransacks everything that has to do with Christmas, yet, the whole town was still celebrating Christmas and happy and singing, and the Grinch was blown away by that. So I wanted to know if these households were still sort of in the Christmas spirit after they've nearly burned down their house.
I can honestly say no. A fire is very, very scary, very detrimental, very life-threatening, people lose everything in a fire. I can tell you that years ago I did a fire that was, I think it was a week before Christmas. I don't remember. She was cooking. She was cooking with bacon. Lit the whole house. We had to tear it down to the foundation. Just had to rebuild it from the ground up over cooking bacon. Another one of those scenarios where, she fell asleep while frying bacon and forgot about it. So she had to run for her life. And this particular family, a week before Christmas, she narrowly escaped with her life out the window. And then they had 6 kids, and we came in as a company. We're all family people, family oriented. Everything's family first with me. And that's, if you're not family oriented, I don't want to work for you. And so we made the best out of we salvaged what we could out of their Christmas gifts. Not all of them survived, but man, we tried to pull off the best Christmas for these kids the best we could and cleaned what we could. Now we had to open their toys and stuff like that. And we had to tear through the packaging and cause they were water damaged from the fire department and soot soaked and smelled like fire. And we salvaged what we could. But no, to answer your question, no, people, no matter this time of year, if you have a fire, yeah, they tend to lose their Christmas spirit real fast.
Wow. Yeah, it's, God, I'm just thinking about that story about that family and how you guys are trying to help recover what they have.
Yeah, we immediately came in. we immediately came in, took the necessary photographs for the insurance company. Saw the tree and it was melted. I mean, it was a live tree. It went up in flames. Everything went up in flames. We couldn't salvage everything, but we, as a company, with everybody that worked for us at the time had kids, and we all just literally took those presents that night, and we put the boards up on the windows. We had to do what we had to do to protect the property and stuff like that from vandalism and looting and stuff like that. That's another huge thing with fires. People get looted all the time. That one always broke my heart whenever, this families just suffered a fire, and it's year round. It doesn't matter, but especially around Christmas, then people will break in. So that was part of our job. We would throw plywood up on the windows, bolt them in, make it where nobody could get in. And, but we immediately that night started the process of cleaning these things and got what we could back to them in the next 2 or 3 days. And they were in a different box, but we even wrapped it for them and brought back what we could salvage and gave them what they had the best we could. And they were free of smoke and odor and water and everything else. So, this time of year, a fire is always heart-wrenching.
Wow. Okay.
That took a dark turn, didn't it? You're trying to be funny with the Whoville and the Grinch.
I was, but it's not funny because that really hit home when you talked about being family-oriented, and suddenly my heart changed. But seriously, we all got to be careful. Don't want to avoid that as much as possible. I mean, completely. Wow. Yeah. Well, let's wrap up, and you can go back to saving people's homes, like you usually do.
Yep. One disaster at a time.
One disaster at a time, folks. If you like what you hear, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, other known as iTunes. You can also subscribe and follow on Google Podcasts as well, and wherever else podcasts are distributed. It is the Service Guys Podcast. I'm producer Rue.
I'm Lonnie Beecham with Restore Restoration, and I want to say get your life back to normal.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
I'm the first one in the room, sitting here waiting on our guests. Had to shut down a water job to come record this. I say I shut it down. Actually, truth be told, I forgot trash bags and broom and dustpan. So I had to run back to the office here to gather, and I had to pull out a ceiling of a kitchen. Somebody stopped up the toilet right above the kitchen, so I'm at the point where it's time to set up equipment, but I can't set up equipment. I'm not one of those contractors that turns fans on and stuff without doing my due diligence, vacuuming up, sweeping, cleaning up the best I can before I introduce air to the environment. That's a recipe for disaster, and people tend to get really mad. So worked out just great. Come back, grab a broom, dustpan, some trash bags, make a little recording for the fine folks that tune in and listen to Ruel and I ramble every week. Today we have a guest. He's a cop, I think, in the Sacramento area. So I guess we'll find out all about the service side of being a police officer. Ruel's going to run behind, so he'll join us shortly. Still waiting on the guest. It's 2:05, Friday, December 7th, 2018. Got a few more shows for the year. Probably take a little break, probably between Christmas and New Year's. And I don't know. I'll have to talk to Ruel about that offline, see what our schedules are. I don't even know what day of the week Christmas is this year. I know in the construction world, it wreaks havoc on schedules and home life and stuff like that whenever you're on call 24/7. We do work Christmas Day. We might not actually be recording anything. Ruel told me he's running behind. Okay. So no guest today, I just found out. Waiting on Ruel to get out of the elevator. 7 minutes after 2. Ruel is texting me instead of hopping on this podcast. Might work out pretty good. I got to go back to work as soon as we get done recording. So I was able to catch up with a dear friend today. Got to speak to them for a while and hadn't got to talk to them for a little bit. That was nice. Had a little downtime this morning in between busy calls. That friend knows exactly who they are. I see Ruel's bubble like he's trying to reply, but he's not replying yet. You know, this is a random thought, but I don't know exactly where Paris is at on the map. Don't ask me why I'm thinking about Paris. Maybe because it's in the news. They've been rioting over gas taxes and stuff. Not that I'm going to get political or anything, but people don't like their gas taxes going up. I know Paris, France is across the English Channel, but from there, I don't really know where Paris is at on the map. I wouldn't have a clue. Of course, I don't really ever plan on flying across the ocean, so don't guess I need to know too much. Where's Ruel? Wow, it's 11 minutes. That's a long time for a type A person that's like, boom, boom, boom. That, and I got money riding on the line. Hey, I hear noise.
Hey.
How you doing? That was a long elevator ride.
I know. I had to play it cool.
Oh, yeah? What you got?
I was tied up, and I had to make I had an emergency call, like just happened. I grabbed my phone really abruptly, and I stood up. I kind of like under my breath, like said, "Oh shit."
Yeah, I had it's perfect timing. I do got to go back to work. I got to the job site, got everything torn apart, and realized I forgot trash bags and broom and dustpan, so I shut it down to come back to record. And then I got to go back to work, and then I got a hard family commitment tonight, so I got to make a lot of stuff happen before 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. So
yeah, this is the tough part of doing the podcast is, well, first it's getting this stuff scheduled, and then second is having to switch gears because hoping to get a guest on that doesn't show up because stuff happens in life. Now got to kind of figure out how we want to proceed.
Yep. So let's get rolling.
This is another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.